So to everybody that's watching, this is your website ready for the summer surge. Lessons from Lundgren Automotive. Really quickly, I just wanted to go ahead and remind you guys that this is being recorded, just so we can go ahead and have this sent out to your guys' emails tomorrow. Maybe share it with your team, review a little bit later on, and get yourself some ideas and best practices of how to set up your website with trade payments or your other products. Just something that can help you guys out. But yeah, just a quick reminder, we're recording this thing. So I'm going to be on my best behavior. Trevor, you do what you want to do, man.
I will try to be on my best behavior.
And of course, my name is Alex Velandia. I'm the senior design and marketing manager for Pratomic, formerly Trade Pending. And Trevor, tell us a little bit about yourself, man.
Uh, I live in Massachusetts. I'm the digital director for the Lundgren Automotive Group. We have two Honda stores, two Subaru stores, and then possibly the only Volkswagen, Audi, Dodge, Ram store in the country, up in Rutland, Vermont. It's
Audi, Volkswagen, Dodge, Ram under one roof.
yeah, yeah. Technically two roofs separated by, a service drive, but
Oh,
it's one campus.
that's how'd you even pull that off?
I don't know. I don't know that I would do it again.
All right, there must be some like grandfather legacy thing going on there. Uh,
Yep.
but thank you so much for joining us today. Really appreciate you hopping on. But before we get started to the best practices and what trade and payments and whatever products and whatever campaigns you can do, I wanted to point this out. So we have this on your Lundgren Honda of Auburn site. I just wanted to say, fantastic image, caught my eye immediately. Uh, Tell us a little bit about what brought this on. I mean, congratulations, school's out sales event, so that's the obvious part. But look at this thing; it's crazy.
Oh yeah. Well, so for President's Day, I typically try to I mean, these are my desk managers. So the GSM's the nerd in the bow tie, and then his crew. But I typically try to grab people and put their faces on Mount Rushmore for President's Day
Yep.
because it's hilarious. Um, so it started with that, and then I've just rolled it for the rest of this year. Whatever theme we're going with, I just have them superimpose, their heads onto whatever theme it is. And so this one was, graduation. And then I have a 12-year-old who apparently the 90s is a meme now, which makes me feel old. So
Yeah.
I had him go 100% Saved by the Bell.
I mean, Saved by the Bell is super important to my childhood. Like I really enjoyed being a kid of the '90s, born in the '80s, but kid of the '90s for sure. So this, I mean, I probably was your demographic for this because it immediately called out to me. So good job with that. I just want to say, awesome.
You're
Very,
you're the prime car buyer demographic too. That's
that's
who I'm
true.
trying to hit.
But,
So
yep, there we go. By the way, Honda's got some new really cool cars out right now. Like I love what you guys are doing with the passenger and the passport. It's I mean the design is it's killing it right now, I think.
yeah, yeah.
So what I wanted to show you right now is this is your new vehicle page. And so one thing that you guys I think are doing really well is that you're putting multiple CTAs on your search results page, and your vehicle description page, and then CTA stack. And right up here, right up top, you've got your value your trade, but then also what's my buying power. So you're giving multiple options for people that are coming to your website. So whatever kind of tickles their fancy for how they want to get into the buyer funnel. And then of course I just wanted to call out, you got auto bio there at the bottom underneath those images just to up value each of those cars without actually adding to the price and kind of building a story a little bit. Um,
Mhm.
so I just wanted to say, I think this honestly is kind of ideal for what the aesthetic of the page looks like. Being a senior design and marketing manager, and I know you're a digital director and from design side too. Like
Yeah.
it looks good. Like you don't want it to be like looking like some of these websites are throwing pop-ups at you with like little spinning wheels and crazy vibrant colors in every direction and whatnot. But yeah, I want to say good job here. How do you guys decide where you want these things to live?
Yeah, I mean it's kind of track and adjust and measure. I think it's always a fine line between having enough CTAs that work and then as I call it, like not Las Vegasing your website.
Yep.
Um,
That's a
you
good
know,
word
just
for it. Yeah.
just not having just crap and bells and whistles everywhere. This has been fairly consistent for a while now. It works well. I kind of like on the SRPs, I had view more details or whatnot as the only CTA for a while. Um, with the auto bio. The auto bio serves a little bit more of a purpose on the used cars when it's off brand, and
Yep.
my salespeople don't know as much of those cars. Um, but yeah, it's the two up top are kind of not discreet, but subtle and right there. So people see them if they want to use them. If not, they're not intrusive. It's definitely not blocking you from shopping.
Yeah. I just want to go back to something you said there, that when you're using auto bio for particularly off-brand vehicles, you mentioned that your sales team doesn't know about off-brand vehicles as much, but I mean, I wouldn't expect them. There's a million cars out there. You're not
Yeah,
going to.
yeah.
So is your team like actively looking at these auto bios and be learning them to, like before they get on a call with a customer, just like, hey, let me just cram real quick and see what I can learn?
Yeah, or I mean, a lot of them. I mean, it depends case by case with the salespeople, but a lot of the salespeople are on the website live with the customer anyway,
Right
so
on.
that they're looking at what the customer's looking at and kind of walking them through and answering questions. And so then they'll click in and kind of grab any information that they need, and then you can always send it as well.
Yeah. And
Um,
I'm sorry.
yeah, no, that was it.
Oh, okay. Well, I was just gonna say, if you're watching, you don't know what AutoBio is. It's our digital retailing tool. It includes, yeah, images in there, but also kind of window sticker, EPA, the Carfax or AutoCheck. It also has a video brochure from Wheels TV inside of there. It's just like a really easy and shareable way of getting the information to you, your spouse, whatever. And then on the back end, Trevor, your team actually gets notified when that auto bio is shared out to other individuals. So like your team would know
Yep,
when to strike um,
yep,
for that. Obviously, don't do it super quickly because then they're like, oh, you clicked it, and now I'm getting a phone call. It's like, all right, well, that's a
yeah, yeah,
correlation right there. Let's not get too creepy about it.
yeah. I see that
Uh,
you clicked on my thing.
yeah, exactly. All right. Well, here we got the used car again. To use your words from earlier, subtle but working. And this is just scroll down a little bit there. You got the calculate your payment right underneath the price, which I think thematically ties it really, really well. It's like, okay, there's a price. How do I get there?
Yep,
So,
yep.
how does payments work for you guys?
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of payments. I hate digital retail as a whole. Um, I don't think the way that I usually sum it up is I don't think somebody in their underwear sitting on their couch is qualified to desk their own deal. People don't know how to finance their own car deal.
Or,
Payments gives you a range and keeps it not vague, but kind of ballpark as
Mhm.
opposed to trying to go penny perfect. Which is what most people want to know. They see that car and they go, "Hey, I want a $350 payment. What do I got to do to get there?" And it lets you kind of play with the numbers, the loan terms, but keeps it vague enough so it can show them that it's doable, but not let them work their own deal and then show up with a completely unreasonable expectation.
Yeah, it doesn't paint you guys into a corner either. It's like, all
Yeah,
right, well, say that somebody is on your site and they're working their DRT and they're maybe not as truthful as,
yeah,
results of Equifax or whatnot would show, and then they come to you with a penny perfect. Well, okay, that's their expectation, sure, based on false data, but it's still their expectation, and that just kind
yeah,
of sets you up for conflict right in the beginning. By
yep.
giving that ballpark, you're like, all right, we can work, but let's figure out what we're doing here.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, with other digital retail tools, like with it being penny perfect, I think like people disqualify themselves without having a conversation,
That's true.
um, which is what I'm trying to avoid at all points in time. I mean, it's why I have click to call on every SRP, every VDP. I have it everywhere.
Yeah.
Like the best position I can be in is have my salesperson on the phone with a
Mhm.
customer. And whatever I got to do to try to get them there as fast as possible, is what I'm going to try to do. So the worst thing I could do is have somebody want a car, try to work through a traditional DR tool, and then their payment comes in at $900 a month, and they're trying to be at like 500, and then they just go, oh, I can't afford the car. Um, so I like that you guys. It's the same thing with payments or the trade tool too. Like I have a little bit more control with the range. Um, I like the flexibility with. I'm not going to stop calling it trade pending, but uh, I like the flexibility with the Protomic tools.
Yeah, well, I mean that's the thing. It's like we wanted to make sure that we're adhering to your guys' strategy. We don't want to, you know, every dealership's so different. You don't want to make sure everything is like completely cookie cutter. What works for another dealership might not work for you. We want to make sure you guys have like
Yeah,
a little bit of control there, depending upon what you guys need. So that makes total sense.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, going back thematically, color wise, this looks great. Nothing, no Las Vegasing of the page. Great.
yeah.
I'm gonna take that. But yeah,
You can take it.
great job there. I noticed this. This is sell us your car page, which is a little bit further down funnel for somebody that is looking for ready to answer some questions. Again, not a full DRT, but just answer 6 to 12 to 16 questions about their car or whatnot. But you have the opportunity, and this is what I really like, that you can immediately chat with your team and get them, on the phone, which is the best place where you want them. And then,
Yep.
but maybe they're not ready to talk to a human just yet. And they want to go ahead and just get a little bit further down. You have both options available there. And then, of course, you got that little video up top that says, "Hey, this is kind of what we're going to be doing. Take a look, and just being as friendly as possible." Indeterminate of how many people actually watch the video, it's the option
Yeah.
there, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think we don't have many people that do watch the video, but I think it looks good and it flows well of like, hey, if you want to watch this, this is how it works. Um, yeah, I'm really big on letting the customer tell you how to sell them
Yeah.
on anything. Every lead that comes in, um, some people tell you, text is answered 85% of the time, 90% of the time, whatever it is. Um, but yeah, it's some customers set up for, an email address. It's their dummy email. It's buyacar@gmail.com.
Right.
That's where all their junk goes, but that's where they want to communicate with you. Some people want to talk on the phone. Some people want to text, and then some people want to engage with a chat. And chat, I feel like, is a little bit more anonymous. Most people kind of think it's like, hey, I don't have to put in a bunch of information. And that's like that chat workflow
Mhm.
will give you some information before it kind of tries to grab any information from you. Um, but yeah, I mean, just let the customer sell themselves and just hold their hand and walk them through the process.
No, that's true. Make it, frictionless, right? That's the goal, right?
Yeah.
They're going to walk where they're going to walk anyways, so might as well hold their hand while they're doing it. But
Yeah.
one thing we mentioned on the call a bit before is that with that chat, there's actually a trade-in tool aspect inside of there, and you mentioned that that's powered by us still, so it's important to
Yeah.
have those numbers match up. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, even if you're not like we don't have a chat tool, making sure that you want to make sure that the number that's given there matches the number that they've already seen or it's available elsewhere on there. Consistency is absolutely key. And again, meeting the customer where they're at. So great
Yeah.
job. This is something I took from our back end. This is just the Honda store we were looking at, but being in multiple locations, like you can have uh, a total loss of a silo where people will drop into if you just don't have it available. Some people don't have a landing page and only live on the SRP and BDP. Well, you could be losing leads because of it. So
Mhm.
being in multiple places, looking the same, consistent, like it's important to have the CTA colors be consistent throughout because what you're doing is you're setting for some design language and you're having them recognize, okay, well, this color is attributed to an action that I'm taking. And if you change that by page, they're having to figure that out again and again and again. But if you have it consistent, you've already set that design language, they're more comfortable and it's less, jarring. But one thing I want to point out here is just that if you have it in multiple locations, you're giving the customer more opportunities to go the pathway that they kind of want to go. Um, yeah, I don't know if you want to mention anything of that. I just want to be like, hey, you guys got it in multiple places, and that's good. That's what we're looking for.
Yeah. I mean, just kind of the track and adjust that I
Yeah.
mentioned earlier. It's just like if the SRP wedge got significantly smaller than that, then I'd probably, think about A/B testing between sites on, hey, pull off all the SRP stuff.
Mhm.
Um, I mean, it's I don't know. I'd like to say that I'm maniacal about tracking, website conversions. I'm not necessarily. It's very important to me. I kind of wish I was a little bit better at it. Um, yeah, but I mean, I do really try to see just overall traffic and then the conversion percent from there, and then trying to figure out why you're leaving my site, and then just removing anything that makes people bounce, outside of inventory price, things like that that I can't control that much.
You just said one thing that I think is actually really good, and just the way you think about things is you were talking about the SRP wedge, and instead of saying just remove it, you went to A/B testing. And that's really important because setting a baseline that you can measure against is the only way you're going to get definitive results over time. So you have the way to test it. Okay, maybe remove it here and keep it there, but also changing things like what the actual verbiage is on the CTA itself, and then you can A/B test
Yeah.
that. Just yeah, many things you can test, but that's the mindset of a digital director. So that's what you need. So these are just a couple of best practices that Potomac has learned through over the years. And again, I'm going to use your term, colors right in the beginning. To avoid Las Vegasing something, you want to make sure it matches your OEM. You want to make sure it matches, the aesthetic that you built out on the brand. You do want the CTA to differ in color from the background, so you can recognize that it is something that is clickable and an action item. But you don't want to have a million different colors on there. That's just going to be a complete eyesore. Everything's going to look important. Like if you highlight a whole page, you did nothing. Nothing's important on that page at that point, right?
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so that's good for the colors. You guys are doing exactly what you need. The next thing I'm going to mention is lead gating. Say you're getting a ton of leads, and your sales team is inundated, and they can't give as much time, and maybe not as much time, but like focus on individual leads. If you want to thin out the herd just a little bit, lead gating is a thing that you can do, and that's just a way to ask somebody for their email address or their phone number, which they have to go ahead and verify. So at least you know that your sales team is getting a lead that is verified through a point of contact, not just a 000 at 00000 phone number,
Yeah.
or buy my car at notarealwebsite.com.
Yeah. 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 Fred
That kind
Flintstone.
of, mm-hmm.
Fred
uh,
Flintstone's not buying a car.
Yeah. The last thing I want to mention is something that's available to all trade product owners. So, what the hot leads report actually is, it's an email that comes from us, and what it is people that have gone to your website and looked at a bunch of different BDPs. So over the last like couple weeks, there's a lot more interest. Hey, they've come back, they've checked it out a bunch of different times. You can see if they're looking at trade or payments, how many times they're looking at a specific vehicle, and it starts to give you a little bit of a picture of what the person's actually thinking. So it's a good way to kind of like prime your team right in the morning, like, hey, these people seem to be really interested, and this is what they're interested in. And so maybe that first hour or two, they can kind of go ahead and look at, what's available, or your sales team can look at what's on the hot leads list, and get after them. Because to me, these are higher intent leads that are delivered on a silver platter to you guys every single day. And to that point, we wanted to get a little bit into some easy, low hanging fruit campaigns that can be done. One I'm going to call out is service lane sourcing. Now, Trevor, you guys actually do something pretty similar to this. Why don't you walk me through what's going on with your dealership?
Yeah. So we use Automotive Mastermind for equity mining. There's a tab in the dashboard that'll show upcoming service appointments for the next 7 days, and then break them down depending on what kind of data they have in Mastermind. It'll show equity position, payments left, that type of stuff. Um, so I've got my sales managers and salespeople taking a peek in that anyway. And then every Monday morning, we started this about 6 months ago. They take they have a box of manila folders, and it's every service appointment that's coming in. You just write on the tab the customer's name, pull the trade pending value on the car from the best guess that we have on mileage, which depends if they're consistent service customers, we know it. Um, Put that into the folder. Have the salesperson get a stack on their desk of all their customers that are coming in the next week. And then it's their job to go over, shake a hand. Do you need a coffee? Here's something that we do for all of our customers, just so that you have an idea of the value of your car. No stress, but if you ever do want to talk about it, we're always looking for used car inventory, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, but you guys are planting that seed, and that's really
Yeah.
important because, like, I mean, especially with the coffee. Yeah. Okay, so not only have you given them useful information, but you tied it with a nice cup of Joe, and that's just
Yeah.
going to behaviorally make them remember you. Like, hey, I was thinking about selling my car, or maybe I'm getting to the point where I want to start thinking about it. Well, I've
Yeah.
already got good feelings tied to the dealership that I already go to. I know these guys known quantity, and I already know what I'd be getting roughly for the vehicle. So that's kind of where you want to start.
Yeah. And I mean, like more important is or more beneficial to us is people that haven't really thought about selling their car. And then they look at the value and it's worth significantly more than they thought or whatnot. And then also, we're keeping track of the RO in the back end. So, John Smith comes in. I hate my car. I hate it. I just had to put on new brakes and rotors all around. It's a $1,600 bill. I hate this effing car. And then we walk in and offer it like, hey, don't pay that bill. First off, we'll pay it. We got to do the brakes and rotors to sell the car anyway. Here's the value for your car. Also, have you seen the new one?
Mhm.
Let's just use the CRV, for example, or as you mentioned earlier, the Passport. It's a drastic redesign.
Yeah,
So it's like, hey, uh, your car is worth a lot. We'll give you some for it. There's a lot of value for us to be able to turn that and sell it, get rid of your problem for you. We'll take care of the brakes and rotors and all the bills that you don't want because you're out of warranty.
right,
Uh, Not that that would, well, whatever,
right.
regardless.
You're starting the
And then
conversation. Yeah.
yeah, and then also like what we've been using with the passport, for example, is anybody who's in an older passport, it's like, hey, while you're sitting here, Honda says that this is the greatest passport. This is like the greatest SUV that they've ever made. I like it. I don't drive a passport every day. Can you just take it for a spin for me and give me some feedback and tell me if Honda's,
Dude,
overinflating how cool this thing is or what you think?
that's a good line.
Um, yeah, and I mean it's the hardest thing on the planet is to get like the hardest part of the sales process is just getting somebody to sit in the car.
Right.
And then the new car smell takes over, it's more responsive. This thing's way nicer than my car, and I need new brakes and rotors. F that thing. Um, so yeah, it's like a less salesy, like, hey, you want some of your car?
Right.
Conversation.
And to that point, because you're already talking to them when they're in building, I switch over to this slide is you can have QR codes linked to that landing page. Um,
Yep.
if somebody's just sitting there, it's a captured audience, right? They're on their phones anyways. They say a QR code. Hey, what's the value of your vehicle? If they get interested enough, well, they'll go through a really easy process to find a range value price for their vehicle, and you get your lead, and using UTM codes, you can figure out, oh, they were in the dealership. So then you can pull like, okay, well, I have their email address and their name. I can go ahead and look inside of my system already to see like what kind of car they have, what they were in there for the repair order and whatnot. But yeah, so
Yep.
exactly what you were talking about with being in building, and actually, it sounds like you guys are doing a phenomenal job with that. But then let's not forget emails. Like it's still free. You guys got to make sure, you guys speaking about dealerships in general, uh, you're tapping that audience. It is a captured audience that you guys have spent a long time, A, capturing and B, working. You want to make sure you're not being overly salesy, but just be helpful. As you mentioned, and this is a theme with you, Trevor, that I'm noticing is like, look, we're not trying to shove a car down your throat. We're just here when you're ready and just trying to make it as easy as possible for you guys. So when you go ahead and send an email every month, be like, hey, just a quick reminder. If you're curious, you can go ahead and take this next step.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I'm trying to shove a car down your throat. I just want you to ask for it.
Right. So the thought is on the consumer itself. Like, oh yeah, no, I was
Yeah,
asking
yeah,
this car to be shoved down my throat. That's right.
yeah. Everybody wants to buy, nobody wants to be sold.
That's true. That's got to be on. It probably is on a shirt somewhere.
Yeah,
Uh, One thing I wanted to mention was this kind of concepts in action thing. So when I was talking about the hot leads report, we have as Potomac, see, I almost did it too. As
yeah,
Potomac, we have a dealer console in the back end, which tracks all the customers that are using our tools on your website and where they go on your website and which vehicles they view. Well, I have two totally fictitious customers over here, but you can see visitor to A. I mean, they've got a type, so they're looking at very specifically white pickup trucks.
mhm,
They've already got a firm offer. They calculated their payments and whatnot. And then visitor B, well, it's kind of like a hodgepodge there. They even got a Tesla in there. Why, I don't know. But they've got, a Wrangler and all these things, you know, from Trevor. What do you think? Is visitor A or visitor B the more serious candidate at this point?
yeah. Visitor A's already narrowed themselves down
Yeah.
to where they are, what they want. Visitor B is like, hey, I hate my car, and I don't want to pay that $1,600 bill, so I'm gonna start browsing, and then they're kind of all over the place.
Yeah. So, I mean, with this kind of information on the back end, you can kind of see like, hey, who's the more serious buyer, who's further down funnel, and what kind of conversations are they ready to have? And that's just something that's already available in our dealer console. And then, of course, our dealer console has all the information from each one of our products, and then you can kind of patch together the information that payments is giving you and trade is giving you kind of together to build out that story.
Yep.
Um, but Trevor, tell me, like, when you have somebody that fills out a payment lead versus a trade lead, what's different between them? Do you handle it differently? Is it worth handling it differently? Do you guys just have a process? What's the deal?
Yeah. So, kind of, I'll step back for a second and just say, so like I'm a huge proponent of the payment leads. When I put it in place, I wanted to make sure that I wasn't poaching from other forms,
Yeah.
like other CTAs. Um, so what I found is my conversion rate has gone up significantly at some stores, uh, enough to attribute it to it at the other stores. What tends to happen with the payment leads, we use Vin Solutions. I don't know with other CRMs how it would work, but we end up getting a fair amount of duplicate leads. So somebody will put in like scheduling a test drive on the website itself, and then go back in and put through a payment lead, and then go back in and put through a trade lead. So um, all of my salespeople are supposed to. It's hard because there's different people, different personalities, but you're supposed to read the lead in its entirety. So if it's a duplicate, read all three or four of them that came through. And then just that should help arm you with more, information to work the lead properly. There's some people that'll put through like six or seven trade leads where they just keep screwing with the mileage or whatnot, to try to get to the number that they want. Um, Same thing with payment too.
Yeah.
All of a sudden they're a 520, and then all of a sudden they're a 640, and then they're a 720, um, in the same lead. But it does give you, even that gives you information of, listen, this guy's got shakier credit, but he's looking for, to hit this number. What can I do with all that information? Um, so I don't necessarily, or we don't necessarily work them differently, but it arms us with more information and paints a better picture pre-contact with the customer of what's important to them. If they put through six trade leads, let's step up on the trade.
Yeah.
That it's obviously important to them to make sure that they can get out of whatever negative equity they have, or whatnot. Um, it's not necessarily forswearing themselves, but kind of forswearing themselves. I mean, they're showing you what the hot button is.
Yep. No, that's true. Thank you for that. All right, changing gears a little bit. Are you doing any kind of fun campaign? Maybe I spoiled this already with like the fun picture early on, but like, what are some of the fun campaigns you've done?
Yeah. So we're trying to, with the campaign from earlier, I mean, that's the same. We do mailers with the same theme, and that's where our specials look. We're trying to position ourselves as not taking ourselves so seriously. Um, I mean, it's in the New England market where we are, um, Auburn in particular. It's pretty competitive, pretty high volume, and if you look at the competition around, they're a little bit more buttoned up, I guess, a little bit stuffier. Um, so we're trying to make sure that we're presenting ourselves as, listen, we know we're selling your car. Like we're trying to have some fun with it too. We don't take ourselves too seriously. Um, Also, I think like my philosophy right now is that like the prime time buyers are kind of Gen X-ish millennials. Um, and everybody in that, not everybody, but the majority of people in that set are cynical and
A little bit.
uh, sarcastic, and um, we're trying to position ourselves that like we're in on the joke with you.
Yeah.
Like, yes, I'm doing advertising to try to sell a car. Also, I understand that this is advertising to try to sell a car.
Yep.
Um, so, I've done, uh, I was running some awful AI, awful Lundgren AI ads for a while, just on social, just kind of pumping out just garbage.
Sure.
Um, I mean, I put myself as a raccoon, um,
I
you
saw
know,
that.
and just, I'm a trash panda putting together AI trash to try to sell you guys cars. Give the prompts as few words as possible and let the AI go haywire and just pump out nonsense. Um, as far as fun goes, I don't know if it's selling any cars, but it's fun to make. Um,
I think that actually brings me to my next question. You've already hit on it a little bit, but how do you stand out in your region? You mentioned that a lot of your competitors are a little bit stuffier, a little bit more buttoned up, and you guys are doing a good job of maybe, letting your hair down a little bit, just,
yeah.
relaxing and saying, hey, it doesn't have to be a boring process. Like, we can get you in a car too. Let's just have a little bit more fun while we're doing it.
Yeah. I mean, my owners are, second generation. So their father started in 1964. So I mean, it is family owned and operated since 1964, so 60 years, which is an important
Mhm.
point to drive home. But then also like, so what? I mean, it sells to some people that it's, family, especially as like the larger groups are kind of just chewing up everybody. And it's becoming one gigantic auto group.
That's right.
There's some people that are like, oh, I want local, but then also like what else? So it's the, not taking it too serious. Like, listen, it's fun to buy a car. I mean, we do countdowns in the showroom. We use the showroom TVs or whatnot, and then everybody gets their picture up on the big screen, and it's a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 countdown. Everybody claps. Like, it's not quite as cheesy, I guess, as banging a gong. Although I like banging a gong too, but we don't have one. But it's just trying to make like bringing some of the excitement back.
Yeah.
Um, none of the big holiday weekends are as big as they used to be.
Right.
It's kind of like, oh God, I need a new car. Let's go buy a new car. And then they kind of like mope you about it, but it's fun.
Yeah.
You spend a lot of time in your car. Like, it's a cool purchase. It's a nice purchase. Like, I get it if you're a customer that just has like a toaster on wheels to commute to and from work. Like, yeah, that sucks. I get it. Let's just try to make it easy for you. You can
Got a
get your,
huge Scion XB circa 2006 toaster on.
yeah, 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 yeah. But I mean, some people like the new Passport. That's a cool car.
It is a cool
And
car.
like, you're picturing yourself in it with like, I don't know, your cool new sunglasses and your cool car with your dog with a bandana hanging out the side window, driving off road on it. Like, it's people have not really a dream, I guess, but they have a vision of themselves, and their car's pretty important to that.
Yeah, I agree
So
with you
we just
there. Yeah, but
we just
I'm gonna push back a
go
little
ahead.
bit because I think it is a dream. But I don't think.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's an achievable dream
Yeah,
for the most part. I mean, it's not like we're selling Lamborghinis or anything, but it's that's a less achievable dream. Um, I don't think. Well, I don't know. I had a picture of a Dodge Intrepid on my wall when I was like 10 years old because the magazine ad looked cool. And then now looking back on it, I'm like, freaking Intrepid. That's what I thought was a cool car when I was 10. But
I mean, it did look cool. I'll give you that one, for
yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Um, so I just want to go. I was going to ask some questions, but we're a little over on time because we're having such a good conversation. But if you guys out there have questions, feel free to go ahead after this webinar is done. There's a survey involved. If you have questions for us, go ahead and write them out. I will personally answer them for you, and then you'll get a recording of this webinar tomorrow. But quickly, I just wanted to say, Trevor, thank you so much. And last thing for us car lovers, part of your auto group is what is it? High octane motors garage
High octane classics.
classics.
Yeah.
And talk about burning an hour that I didn't already have. I just went on this website and I was just looking through every one of these things. You got a Chevelle SS up there. Oh man, beautiful. If you want to burn
Oh,
some time while looking at really sweet cars for us car lovers, that's where you
yeah.
gotta go. You guys got a good inventory there. And I imagine there's going to be more of those sold diagonal markers on more of those things after this webinar. I hope so.
Yeah, yeah. They look good on showroom floors. Everybody should buy one as an ornament.
That's right. All right. Well, once again, I just want to say thank you so much for joining us here at Potomac today, Trevor. I think you guys are killing it out there. This personal pleasure for me. I have such a great time talking with you, which is why we went over. That's my bad, but thanks so much for hanging out with us today.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me.
All right. Have a good one, everybody.